Alright guys, so here is the laundry room slash closet from our bedroom, and you can see they put some OSB and some carpet down, and I want to put some tile, but you could see the flooring here is not level. They try to level it by putting OSB on top and by, you know, putting wood here, but the wood is way too high. If you could see, level should be right there. Okay, so it's way too high. You could even see it, the OSB lifting up here. So I got to rip all this OSB out. You need the floor nice and level to do tile, or else when you step on it, it can crack the tile. Alright, check this out guys. You got 1, 2, 3 vents for a dryer. And once you start getting this up, you just break it. Alright guys, so now I'm almost done ripping this, half of it at least, out. And you can see it's level now. Check that out. Level. Okay, so the main substrate is usually going to be level unless you got some kind of foundation problem. And so this is level, so there was no need to have to put that wood in and then, you know, bow it up like that. It was really making it worse. Best thing to do is just rip out the old stuff and put new stuff down. So we finished pulling out all the old stuff. We're down to the subfloor. Okay, and it definitely is not level. This side of the floor is sloped downwards a little bit. I could put down some hardy back and then use some leveler over there, but I'm going to need a lot of leveler because it's quite a bit off. If you go over here, you can see how much off it is. See that? Pretty. It's like an inch, maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. Yeah. And over there at the end, it's a good 2 inches. But that's going to need a lot of leveling. That's a little bit too much for leveler. Alright guys, so I started to fill in the holes. All I'm using is some insulation board you can buy at the local Home Depot. You know, and all I did is cut out the holes about the size of the hole and then just shoved it in there as best I could to fill up those little old vent holes and any other holes that I found, which there was quite a few of them. Put some around the little pipings here. Helps keep drafts out, bugs out and stuff. So I think I'm just going to screw this down all the way flat and then just buy a leveler, a leveling compound, and just mix it up and just pour it, because this thing is, it's really off on one side. So I think I'm going to do that. Alright, so I want to show you guys something. I want to show you how off this floor is. It's a pretty flat piece of wood. Check out that on that side. Look at how off it is. It's like almost 2 inches off. That's really bad. Can you imagine how much leveler I'd have to put in there to get that flush with this side? Alright, today I'm finishing up the last bits of the hardy back in this little area here, and I found out there was an original door right here, so I'm thinking to put the doorway back, and I'll show you on the other side how that looks. Alright, here's the other side, and what they did is they had a huge bookshelf here that I'm taking down, shelving here, and it had this drawers up there, so I'm taking those down, and behind this there was a piece of sheetrock that was just kind of placed in there. Wasn't even screwed down, and then all they did was put a 2x4 here, 2x4 there, and one down the middle. So what I'm going to do is take the 2x4s out, because this is the original doorway to the house. Alright, for those of you guys that are going to be putting a leveling compound on the floor, what I'm using is self-seal insulation foam, and it's stick-on. And what I'm doing is cutting a little piece to go on my pipes here, because this is for the cold and hot for the wash machine and dryer. So you got all these little, this is for electricity. So yeah, put that down at the bottom, at least 1 inch up, and then it'll keep any leveling compound from going in there, and also give you some you know, a gap from that little area too. And I'm going to do that right here as well. And again, that keeps the leveling compound from getting in there. It gives you a little bit of room so you can move the pipe around if you need to. And another thing is, I'm not going to be using a leveling compound. I'm going to be using just cement and sand. And it just, I don't know, it just seems easier for me to do it like that. And it's the old school method of doing it. I know everybody's using self-leveling compounds, but those can be expensive. They're like $40 a bag. And the cement's a lot cheaper, $10 for, you know, a 90-pound bag of cement, and then sand's only a few bucks. And if you mix 4 to 1, 4 parts sand, 1 part cement, mix it up, get a little bit wet, not too wet, but have it, you know, like a cake mixture. And then you lay that out where, because I still got this very unlevel surface here, and I want to fix it. Alright, so I got the straightest 2x4 I could find, and it's a 6-foot length, about what I need. And you can see there's a little gap right here, just a tiny bit, but my major gap is that side, and we're a good inch off at the end. So again, I'm going to try to fix it by leveling it out with some cement and some sand mixed together, 4 to 1. 4 parts sand, 1 part cement, and I'll mix it somewhat dry, wet dry, more on the dry side, and then we'll just put it up on there. And what you want to do is you want to put cement, a skim layer of cement first, just cement, somewhat liquidy, and then you want to put the dry sand and cement on top of that. And the point of the cement by itself is so it will stick to the floor better. So when the bottom dries, it'll really grab on. Yeah, so it looks like I got a good 10 feet of unlevelness from about the entry door to about where this knee pad is, and about this wall line right here. So it's just right here, and that's actually where the laundry dryer and little vent, you know, cabinet will be. So you won't really see it, but just want to fix it. And here's the doorway that we created, the original one that they had filled. First thing I'm starting to do here is putting up a level down, and I want it somewhat level on this side where it's flat, and push down on it to the bubbles in the middle of there. And once it's in the middle, you're going to mark with a pencil where the little gap is under your level begins. So if you see a little light through here, you mark the pencil where it begins and go all the way back to the wall, and do that every, I don't know, every about 10 inches or a foot, and you'll see where the marks are that I put. There's one here, one here, one here, one here, and so on. That's where I need to start with my with the leveling compound. And that's just a guide to help me, so when I'm starting to put this in here, not to go too far. I don't need to go way out here. This would be pointless, it's already flat out here. And I marked it all the way to about right here. And that's right here. Here's the beginning. So there's the beginning of my low spots. And then it gets out, the farthest it goes is about right here. I'll show you guys how much unlevel this is. I'm standing on a 2x4 on one side, and this is a pretty straight 2x4. And you can see on this side, it's a good 2 inches, or about almost an inch, and a little over 1 3/4, almost 2 inches. At the very end, it's pretty much 2 inches, dead on. Okay, so that's quite a bit of a gap, and that's why I didn't want to use the leveler stuff that they sell, because that's quite a bit of a gap for that leveling stuff. Some of that stuff only goes up to like 1.5 inches, and this is 2 inches, so that's why I'm using the cement with sand. And that's how the master tile people do it. I watch videos of guys that have been working on tile for most of their lives, and that's what they use, is sand with the cement. Alright, so we're going to chalk line on the floor where it's nice and flat, so we don't go over and start messing up the flat side. Alright, so it's a 4-to-1 ratio, 4 parts sand, 1 part cement. Don't get mistaken with, I'm using Portland cement, don't use concrete, it's different, or mortar. So cement, and you don't use play sand, you want to use the orangey sand, the one that's got like different thicknesses. That's better to be used. And yeah, so there's 4 parts and 1 part, and we're gonna mix it. So you can kind of see about how it looks, and make sure you get a trowel and you mix it all up, because you really need it mixed. And after this is mixed up fully, you're going to take a sponge right here in some water and just kind of sponge on your water as you're mixing it with the trowel. And you want to get it to like a cake like mixture, like when you're making cake and you got it, you know, you don't want it liquidy, you just want it kind of, you know, moist. And there it is mixed up. You can see it's no longer yellow color of the sand, it's gray like everything. Thoroughly mixed. You shouldn't have any spots where it looks like it's just sand. Alright, so add a little bit water, and now it's starting to get, you know, moist. And that's about where we want it. We don't want it dripping with water. Okay, now this is ready to be packed down to where our low spot is. Alright, so hours later, I don't know, 3-4 hours, you can see it's pretty level now. Used about 3 bags of sand, and we ran out of sand. I probably need another bag or 2 to finish off this area here, right here. So I still got to go up to about right here. So yeah, about 2 more bags of sand to do this area. But you can see the lip. That's a good inch and a quarter right there high. So this is a pain in the butt to lay down and to level out, but it is a little cheaper than the leveler, a lot cheaper. But yeah, it does take some physical labor. And you gotta constantly go over it with a, you know, a straight edge, and to get it straight. And you can see it's pretty straight. It's probably not perfect, but it's okay. It's a lot better than what it was. Alright, today I got this filled in. You can see where it's wet here. So it's nice and level now. You can see how thick that is. I don't know, it's like a good 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches. That's how off the floor was. But now, got a nice and level floor, finally. And now I can set my tile.